welcome again to another session of the Hannah Healing Forum. And in this forum, we focus on mental health and also we focus on inner healing. Hello, and again, my name is Hannah Njeri. I have a background in pastoral studies and I have a degree in theology, a degree in sociology and politics, and I also have a certificate in trauma counseling. So I've done quite a number of researches on different topics, on different issues, mental health and also inner healing. And so today we are going to deal with the topic of trauma and the brain. In our past video, we explained what trauma is, we explained what signs of trauma are, and if you are not able to watch our last video, please feel free to go back and watch and be able to follow through of what trauma is and how trauma even affects society. Today we are going to deal with how trauma affects the brain. One of the areas that is really affected by trauma, or the places that are affected by trauma in the body, is the brain. And because the body has the psychosomatic effect whereby the mind is connected with the body. So it's psychosomatic, whereby whatever happens to the brain affects the mind. The body. And in fact, many sicknesses that scientists are now discovering starts in the mind. And then now they come back to the body. So that effect is already being felt even by many people because of the traumatic events that they have gone through in society. Trauma can cause sicknesses, and how? Because when we understand how trauma affects the brain, then we'll be able to understand how trauma can cause various sicknesses. Today, I will use my diagram that I have here on my phone to explain how trauma affects the brain. So this is what we call, this is the brain structure, and this is the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, this is the thinking part of the brain, the reasoning, the logic part of the brain. So when someone is traumatized or they are going through a lot of stress, this area is affected, and the amygdala takes over. Amygdala is the limbic or the emotional part of the brain. So when the mind is going through trauma, the emotional part of the brain takes over, and then the hippocampus, which stores memories, no longer can be able to store memories when the brain is in a fight or flight mode. When the brain is in a fight or flight mode when there's trauma or there's stress in the brain. So when the hippocampus is not able again to store memories, what happens now? It starts releasing cortisol in the body, which is the stress, which is the chemical released when there is the stress in the body. So the stress causing this chemical, when it's released in the body, the cortisol, it now starts eating organs like kidneys and other places, or bringing ulcers and all sorts of even cancers. So now the amygdala, which is the emotional part of the brain, takes over. So now the thinking part has now been affected. So now most of the time someone now is in a reactive mode. You are now in the brain is said to be in a survival mode. It's in a place where it's surviving. It's looking out for itself. So now when the brain is in like that, so you can't reason, you can't think clearly. And that's why now you find most times when people are in that cycle of the brain, even when keys fall, you want to pick the keys, it becomes so hectic, you feel so tired, even to do normal routines, even to take care of yourself, you're so tired because cortisol has already flooded your mind. The prefrontal lobe has already been affected, it cannot think clearly. And that's why even when people make decisions when they are stressed, they can't make sound decisions, they can't make decisions that they are alert. And that's why it's called the survival mode. And when the brain is in a survival mode, what happens is, number one, you cannot be able to think clearly or stay focused for long. You cannot focus. Even when you're in class or you're doing an activity or in the office that requires you to focus, you are not able to focus. Number two, you just want to get things done with. You don't want it to go out of your way, to do something perfectly. You just want to get things done with, or the day to get by. Number three, you're always tired. There's chronic stress, because you have chronic stress, you have also chronic fatigue, whereby you just want to sleep most of the time. You also don't want ambiguity. You want to do things that you know right now you're doing and you're seeing. You don't want ambiguity. Number four, you also have a black and white kind of thinking, because the mind is so negative. The negativity has come into your life, and fear. You think black and white, and by white and black thinking, I mean you can either see something either as entirely good or something as entirely bad. And the dangers with this black and white thinking is you cannot be able to have a balance. As long, let's say for example, you start the day, and maybe as you're going through the day you get a puncture, and then you fix the puncture, you go to the office, and maybe they have a surprise party for you. So if you have a black and white thinking, you'll only see the day as bad, because of the tire. So you focus on one thing that spoils the whole day. So that kind of a thinking is not balanced. That kind of a thinking is not even, sound. It's so biased, so that you cannot be able to see the bigger picture in everything. And then number 5, when you have that kind of a thinking, you cannot be creative. For your mind to be creative, you need positivity. Positivity creates the earth. Like the place where we are around us, you can see there are trees, you can see there's grass. Nature inspires creativity. So when you are stressed, or when the brain is in survival mode, you cannot be able to create or even think out of the box, because you're so stressed. You're so, it makes you just self-focus so much that you cannot be able to see other things or be creative. And so when the brain is in this kind of a survival mode, or it's in this form of operation, then it means you cannot even utilize your capacity in the brain. So how do you go about healing trauma on the brain, or helping your brain to heal trauma? Number 1, you also need a lot of you also need to find places where you're accepted and loved. Do you know you can go through such a traumatic experience, but when you have support and love, it helps you to heal the trauma and the experience that you have gone through. Number 2, you also need to be in a place where you can be able to talk. You see, the more you hold things inside, if you keep holding things inside, one day you will have to explode. And when you explode, you can do things like, that's why people commit suicide. That's why people go out there and shoot people, because of repressed anger in them. Another way you can also help the brain is travel out of the place that is stressing you. Get out for some days. Even if the situation is how dire, just go somewhere. Go somewhere. And if you don't have even the money to be able to afford, ask a friend if you can visit them and stay with them for a few days. Or just go somewhere where you can be able, even during the day, it doesn't even need for you to go and sleep over. Just go somewhere during the day and enjoy your day. Enjoy the atmosphere. Enjoy yourself in that place that you're going to go. Go to a park. If you cannot afford to go somewhere where it's expensive, go to a park, or a place where there is nature, or a place where the river is moving. Water too has a calming effect. As long as you're doing this, or do something that you love, buy yourself something that is nice, that way. Because life is too short to focus on the negative things, to focus on things that are not helpful to you or to anybody else out there. Another way also you can help yourself with trauma and the brain is learn to calm yourself down. Learn the way we were talking about reparenting yourself. Talk to yourself. Be now like a parent to yourself. Talk to yourself and encourage yourself. Tell yourself, even this too shall come to pass. And for those people who know God, are into religion, look for verses that are encouraging you. Go for prayer. Meditation also is very important. Meditate. And also learn to train your brain to be present. Because when you're not present, you are now thinking about the future, or you're thinking about the past. Learn to be present. Like, this is my present situation right now. Focus on what is today. The Bible says that enough for today. Tomorrow will think about itself. Be present. Just one day at a time. One day at a time. As you trust in God. One day at a time. And then the issue of being present is very important, because you can go to meditate even in a park, but your mind is drifting away. So you have to always catch your mind and retrain it to be in the present moment. Retrain it to be in the today. What is happening today? What is happening now? That's how you can retrain your mind. And so I think with this kind of information, you can also be able to go and research more of how the brain trauma affects the brain. For this, we said before, and that in this program, we're just here to help, to be a guide, but you can do more research on your own, on the internet or other places, and be able to see how you can help yourself. Another way you can also help yourself is go for therapy. Go for therapy and try and talk it out. Also, go for if you are someone who is able to afford, go to the spa, go for a holiday. Spa also helps a lot. Massage is also very good because it calms your nerves. Just do anything that calms your nerves, and also avoid overthinking. Sometimes the things that we fear will come to pass normally even don't come to pass, so you just realize these are just normal fears. Don't allow yourself to get into fears or to get into things that are not even important. Allow yourself to just be human. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Another thing that happens when someone is in survival mode is, or you've gone through trauma, is you sometimes want to avoid making mistakes because you feel like if you make one mistake, people will judge you to be bad. Allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to be you. So with that said and done, please research more on this topic, and feel free to even share this information. Feel free to comment and like our video. So the next video will continue talking about trauma and the body. So thank you for watching. See you next time.